Why do people who are good at Feng Shui not make themselves rich? Maybe quite a few of you have asked that question before. They understand the land, they understand the sky, and they understand the laws of nature, yet somehow they cannot use that knowledge to help themselves. Instead, day after day, they read Feng Shui for other people and give advice to other people, while the lives of those Feng Shui experts themselves can sometimes be more ordinary than anyone else's. So, what is the real reason? Or is there some kind of rule that prevents even Feng Shui experts from reading Feng Shui for themselves? Let us dig a little deeper together and find the answer. Reason number 1. Feng Shui ranks third, and it cannot rise above destiny and luck. In truth, when we look at the hierarchy that governs human life, you will see that even though Feng Shui is powerful, it still has to bow before the two giants above it. Ancient masters have always taught us about an unchanging order. First is destiny, second is luck, third is Feng Shui, fourth is accumulating virtue, and fifth is reading and learning. To put it simply, a person's life is influenced by 5 major factors. At the top is destiny, which means the inborn foundation each person carries from the moment they come into this world. Second is luck, meaning the rises and falls that happen throughout different stages of life. Only in third place comes Feng Shui, meaning the living environment, the direction of the house, the flow of energy, and the way the space around us is arranged. After that comes accumulating virtue, meaning the blessings created by our ancestors and by ourselves. Finally comes reading and learning, meaning knowledge, study, and understanding. So Feng Shui is very important, but it still only ranks third. Feng Shui can support, adjust, open paths, reduce obstacles, and help wealth flow into your home more easily. But Feng Shui cannot completely override your destiny and luck. I often compare destiny to a container and wealth to water. Each person is born carrying a different container. For example, some of you are born as if you already have a large jar, with the capacity to hold many opportunities, many assets, and many blessings. Whatever you do, you may meet the right timing, meet the right benefactors, and seize major opportunities. But some of you are born as if you are holding a small cup. It is not that you have no talent, or that you have not tried hard enough. It is because your capacity to hold wealth is not as large as someone else's. And Feng Shui is like the water delivery system. When you know how to apply it properly, Feng Shui can help the water flow into your container more steadily, with less loss along the way. It is just like when your home is always open and well ventilated. The main door can receive good energy, the kitchen can hold warmth, the bedroom feels peaceful, and the wealth corner stays clean. All of these things are like opening a path for wealth to enter your life. But think about it for a moment. If your container is naturally only as small as a cup, and you try to use extremely powerful Feng Shui to pull in a huge stream of water like a river, what will happen? The water will definitely overflow, or the pressure will be so great that it shatters the cup completely. That is why I, or any authentic Feng Shui master, cannot force our own destiny to go beyond the level it is meant to withstand. Because the price of overflowing the container is often declining health, or a lifespan that may gradually be shortened. And more than that, even if you are like me, or like other Feng Shui masters who have a sharp memory and can memorize thousands of principles from the Book of Changes, that knowledge, in the end, still only ranks 5th reading and learning. It helps you understand the rules of the universe, but it does not give me the power to stand outside those rules. At that point, you are like a doctor who may fully understand how a disease develops, but that does not mean you are immune to it. On top of that, greed or financial anxiety will cloud the energy field, causing people who are good at Feng Shui to lose the clarity needed to see the flaws right beneath their own feet. So, you can only choose to follow the way of heaven, using Feng Shui to maintain peace and reduce hardship, rather than using it as a tool to attract prosperity at all costs, regardless of the law of cause and effect. Reason number 2. When you know the secrets of heaven, you must pay a price. You know, in the world of Feng Shui, the saying, "the secrets of heaven must not be revealed," is seen as the universe's highest rule of confidentiality. Think of life as an important exam meant to train the mind and character. The hardships and misfortunes you face are often tests or karmic debts from the past that you must go through yourself in order to restore balance to your fate. When a Feng Shui master uses knowledge and ability to change the situation, helping you avoid misfortune, escape a major problem, or skip a karmic lesson you were meant to experience, do you know what happens? That event still remains within the flow of destiny. According to mystical belief, fate is not like an ink stain that can be wiped away with a few remedies. Fate is more like a debt already recorded in the book of creation. If the person who should repay that debt tries to avoid it, the debt still remains. Sometimes, the misfortune is simply delayed, changes into another form, returns at another time, or transfers part of its pressure onto the person who stepped in to help. In simple terms, the Feng Shui master becomes like someone signing as a guarantor for your karmic debt. You may avoid great danger and receive great fortune for a while, but the master may have to bear the invisible pressure behind that change. Ancient texts on geography and divination have long spoken of a harsh consequence for those who hold the secrets of heaven and earth but fail to protect themselves. It is called the 5 punishments. The 5 punishments include widowhood, meaning loneliness; isolation, meaning living apart without a true confidant; disability, meaning illness or physical impairment; poverty, meaning lasting hardship; and no descendants, meaning having no heirs. Ancient people use sayings like, first comes loss of spouse, second comes poverty, third comes orphanhood, to describe these costs. Many people see Feng Shui masters living simply, sometimes even lacking comfort, and assume they may not be truly skilled. But in reality, this simple poverty is often either a conscious choice or a price accepted in exchange for peace within the family. Because when you hold too much of the universe's wisdom energy, you may have to lack something on the material side in order to keep balance. Living simply also helps Feng Shui practitioners keep their energy field from being clouded by the 5 poisons: greed, anger, ignorance, arrogance, and doubt. Just think about it. If a Feng Shui master is always obsessed with money, luxury cars, and big houses, the mind will quickly become disturbed. And if the heart is not still, how can it see the subtle currents of energy in someone else's life? So the poverty you see can be a necessary kind of purification. That is why people who are truly good at Feng Shui often choose a modest life with clear wisdom, rather than living in luxury and being blinded by the world. Because in the end, both blessings and destiny can disappear like smoke in the wind. That is the true strength of someone who understands the way of heaven. Reason number 3. Professional ethics. The third reason lies in the professional ethics of a true Feng Shui master. Because the guiding principle on the career path of someone who is good at Feng Shui is often summed up in 4 words. Wisdom as the only profession, meaning taking wisdom as one's only life's work. According to the Sutra of the Buddha's final teaching, which I once read, a person who knows contentment can feel at peace even while lying on sand and dirt, while a person who is always greedy will never be satisfied, even in paradise. For a Feng Shui practitioner like me, simple poverty is a protective cage that helps me keep myself clean. Just think about it. If you are practicing Feng Shui but your eyes are blinded by bright red envelopes from wealthy clients, can your advice still remain objective? Or at that point, will you only say what they want to hear in order to profit from them? When the mind is led by greed, your personal energy field can become clouded, and that is when the energy of a Feng Shui practitioner slowly fades away. That is why Feng Shui practitioners like me always remember the 10 reflections of a teacher. including seeing injustice and misunderstanding as the gateway to spiritual cultivation, and not seeking convenience or advantage for oneself. When I help someone, I try to do it with the mindset of giving kindness without expecting repayment. Helping others without chasing fame or profit is the way I use Feng Shui to accumulate virtue and turn Feng Shui intervention into an act of building merit. Only then can I hope to preserve the roots of peace for myself and my family. So after seeing these hidden sides, if you want to take charge of your own destiny, what is the first thing we truly need to change? First of all, do not get so caught up in changing the outside environment that you forget to cultivate the inner self. In Feng Shui, the heart is the root of every kind of energy. If your mind is always filled with greed, anxiety, or anger, then that toxic personal energy field will disrupt and neutralize every technical arrangement. Remember, a home can only truly receive positive energy when the people living in it radiate calmness and love. Next, you should remember this path: cultivate virtue, do good deeds, and raise your awareness. This is the real golden key that no expensive Feng Shui item can replace. Cultivating virtue helps you build a strong, energetic foundation, just like reinforcing the foundation of a house before building it higher. Doing good deeds is the way you deposit more blessings into your spiritual bank, helping yourself turn danger into good fortune when difficult times come. And raising your awareness helps you understand the laws of the universe, so you no longer take the wrong path or force things that do not belong to you. Besides that, see Feng Shui as a sail, not an engine. Because Feng Shui comes after destiny and luck, it serves as a supporting tool that helps your boat move faster when the wind is favorable, but it cannot replace the boat itself or the direction of the current. So never treat Feng Shui as a shortcut to quick prosperity while forgetting your own effort. In the end, the highest form of wisdom is knowing your own limits. A person who truly masters destiny is someone who deeply understands the law of living with contentment. When you accept the limits set by creation, live in harmony with the way of heaven, and do not deliberately try to bend the rules of cause and effect, you will achieve true freedom in your soul. That is the real great blessing, the true prosperity that no master can give you except yourself. And if you have any questions related to Feng Shui, feel free to leave them in the comments below, so we can explore and answer them together in the next videos. Goodbye, and see you again.